Now, as a part of Yahoo Finance's Black History Month series, we have been telling you the interesting stories of black business leaders who have made history by transforming corporate America. Today, Nelson Malden. He was Dr. Martin Luther King's barber, and his barbershop, believe it or not, is still open today in Montgomery, Alabama. Sibile, you are writing the story on this. Tell us more about Nelson Malden.
Nelson Malden is an exceptional man. He actually still has his barbershop open, and he was Martin Luther King's favorite barber. They first met when he was 21 years old in 1954. And he said that when he saw Dr. King, he thought he was a bigger deal than Dr. King was. He said that he was just a little customer that came in for a haircut. And after he was done giving the haircut, he asked Martin Luther King, "What do you think?" He gave him the mirror, and Martin King was like, pretty good.
Right, sorry.
He's like, that was a huge insult. But Dr. King came back 2 weeks later, so then he tried to play on that and was like, "Oh, I guess your haircut was pretty good, huh?" And then Martin Luther King was like, "You're all right." So that was another insult. So that was the beginning of their relationship, but they ended up knowing each other very well through the barbershop and through church. And the impact that Nelson Malden had on the civil rights movement is that his barbershop became a safe space for these civil rights leaders like Dr. King and others to actually talk about what their next protests were going to be, what their strategy was going to be to deal with racism and discrimination. And one of the big protest movements was the Montgomery bus boycotts that happened for about a year, from 1955 to 1956, and Nelson Malden could watch that from his store window. Every single day, he would see blacks not get on the bus and would see the impact that that was having on public transportation and the economy. So really lasting legacy here on the civil rights movement.
And
with Nelson Malden.
I think what's been really interesting about the series we've done during Black History Month is you realize that it's not like ancient history, right? Like this guy's still alive.
He's still alive.
Yes.
And he was still cutting hair 2 years ago.
He's 85
and I think
years old.
that what we often forget about when we're just talking about U.S. history is that a lot of it, especially black history, is accessible. I mean, the civil rights movement was, 50, 60 years ago. Our parents are 50, 60 years old, right?
Yep.
I mean, they were alive for this stuff. Our grandparents were, basically part of this movement, right? They were 20, 30 years old. They were our age when this stuff was happening. And I think it's a reminder that while everything is in the moment right now, because everything's on Twitter all the time, and it feels like you could never take a step back and look at what has happened, this particular month and this series that we've done, I think reminds you that this stuff is like pretty present.
Yeah, and barbershops continue to have a huge impact on the community. When I was talking to Nelson Malden,
cultural centers.
Absolutely, he's like, a barbershop is a black man's country club, and that's still the case today. And haircuts at the time were $3.50 to $4. So obviously, inflation, the prices are much higher.
Miles pays about 20 times that.
How much do you pay for your haircut?
I'm not going to talk about that. I'll take a haircut. I'd pay,
50.
Okay.
I'll say 50.
Fine. We'll talk about it later.
Now you have to say what you spend on.
I don't have to say it. I didn't agree to that.
All right. And of course, the barbershop being the cultural center, LeBron has a new show called The Shop, and it's conversations that take place in the barbershop.
Exactly.
Good stuff. Thanks, Sibile.